Imagine stepping into a war that would not only change the course of history, but redefine the meaning of defeat. Welcome to the Vietnam War, where the might of the world's greatest military power clashed with an underestimated enemy in the heart of Southeast Asia. But why did the US get involved? And how did the Vietnamese, armed with ingenuity and resilience, turn the tide against overwhelming odds? Buckle up, because today we're uncovering the untold stories of the Vietnam War, the drama, the strategy, and the pain that defined it. It all began during the Cold War, a time when the world was split into two titans, the United States and the Soviet Union. But what did Vietnam have to do with this global power struggle? In a nutshell, it was a clash of ideologies, capitalism versus communism. When Vietnam was split in two, with the North under communist leadership and the South backed by the US, it set the stage for a war that would draw in international forces and create one of the most brutal conflicts of the 20th century. The North, led by the indomitable Ho Chi Minh, was fighting not just for control but for national unification. While the US poured in resources and military might, the North adapted guerrilla warfare strategies that left American troops scratching their heads and looking over their shoulders. The North Vietnamese knew the terrain better than anyone. The dense jungles of Vietnam became their ally, hiding secret trails and ambush points. While the US Army relied on superior technology and firepower, they were constantly outmaneuvered. The US thought they were hunting lions, but in reality they were caught in a game of whack-a-mole with an enemy that could pop up anywhere. Now, let's talk about some of the most jaw-dropping strategies that helped the North Vietnamese hold their ground. For example, the Viet Cong's use of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, a network of secret supply routes through neighboring countries that kept their war machine running. It was like trying to stop a river in the mountains, impossible to contain no matter how many bombs you dropped. American soldiers were seasoned, trained, and well-equipped, but they didn't expect to be fighting ghosts. You could be in the middle of the jungle and suddenly find yourself surrounded by an unseen force. It's like playing hide and seek with an opponent who knows where you are and has a bazooka. And while some battles were pivotal, like the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in 1954, which marked the end of French colonial rule and set the tone for future resistance, the true ingenuity came from small victories. The North Vietnamese army used their terrain, booby traps, and well-coordinated ambushes to counter the high-tech arsenal of the US forces. But it wasn't just tactics. The Vietnamese were fighting for more than survival. They were fighting for identity, sovereignty, and the hope of a future free from foreign influence. And that resilience, it left the US military in a constant state of frustration and fatigue. Back in America, this war wasn't just fought in the jungles of Vietnam. It was fought on the streets and college campuses too. The public outcry, protests, and growing anti-war sentiment were proof that the fighting spirit wasn't just on the battlefield. It was at home, questioning the cost of a war that seemed unwinnable. The Vietnam War didn't just change Vietnam, it changed the world. It showed that power alone can't win every battle. Sometimes it's the courage, cunning, and spirit of the underdog that makes all the difference. And as we look back, these untold stories remind us of the true nature of resilience, and why history is more than just dates and battles. It's the story of people who dare to stand up no matter what. If you enjoyed learning about the untold stories of the Vietnam War, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.